Brave Frontier banner! Woo! Today we got all kinds of awesome characters. And by awesome, I mean some of them are awesome. We're going to start with Karl today. So if you don't know, Brave Frontier is the game that Gumi originally started with. Turned into, well, it hasn't turned into Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. Brave Exvius is their new baby. So this is a crossover between them. So we're getting units from that game. To start off, Karl's Seal of Destruction Trust Mastery. We're going to look at that real quick here. So it's plus 20% attack, mag, and HP plus 10%. It's a pretty good seal. I mean, I like the attack on it. And if you have any units that are utilizing hybrid skills or they use magic as a sub, it'd be a pretty decent seal, or pretty decent Trust Mastery to pick up. Other than that, I mean, it's very a situational one. You'll be able to find better attack specific or better mag specific, but that's kind of a nice all-round Trust Mastery. He's got nice blue hair. That's cool. He's a 4-star base, so only going to be getting him from the gold crystal, which is unfortunate. Not exactly the best thing, because we have basically no 3-star units, which sucks on this banner. But if you really want 3-star base units, you can still pull for the Lunith banner right now. His base stats are okay. He's on the attacker kind of side, but they're not the best for a 5-star attacker. So like the bests are around like the 120, 124 mark. So he's pretty close, but he's not the best. We'll show where he does kind of fit in. Like comparatively compared to like Chizuru and any of the other 5 stars currently, they're gonna win out just slightly. So if you pull him, he's still good. Like if you don't have a Chizuru or any other barrage style attacker, he's still pretty good, and we'll show you why here. The maximum stats increase, I'm not going to get into those on the units. This is new with this banner, not specifically this banner, but going forward, because you now have the pots, the mini burst pots that give stat ups from Arena. Not going to get into that. Basically, you can up stats. Hooray. He has no resistances. His equipment is pretty standard, except he can't use great swords. So he can't use those Excaliburs, but we have a lot of swords in the game right now, some decent spears. Daggers suck. We'll just overlook that. His armor, mostly heavy armor, so he's going to be tankier and have less of the cloth attack bonus armor. For learned abilities, in 4-star, we got Ruinous Cleave, which is one of his okay abilities. Again, we are looking at him as a 5-star character, not comparing him to 6 stars. So having an attack down with a physical damage modifier, it's decent. Not the greatest move out of his kit. Defense plus, he also has attack plus 20%. That's a better kind of thing than the defense plus. I guess they're kind of going for a tankier look. He's a knight. Verdant Cleave, wind physical damage. One of the few characters that actually use wind damage, so that can be nice for some type advantage. Demon Killer, there's not a lot of demons in the game, but when we do find them, it's nice to have that extra damage. Evoke Magic, he's generally useless unless it's heavily stacked via like Rydia or any of the other summon units. I don't know why they put it on him. I'm assuming it has to do something with the lore of how Brave Frontier works. I haven't played that game, so I'm assuming that's something to do with that game is why these guys are getting Evoke Magic. Thundercleave is a lightning physical damage to all enemies, 1.8 times, so it's a decent AoE for clearing trash mobs. Beast Killer, always good, tons of beasts in the game, so he will be getting 50% more damage against all of them. That's really good. If you can, like if he is your main attacker, you can throw him in with Ifrit. He'll get Beast Killer from Ifrit and Beast Killer from his native, so I believe he'll go up to 100%. I'm fairly sure they stack, don't quote me on that. Gleaming Cleave is his kind of bread and butter. It's not as good as Barrage. It's like a 3-hit Barrage. So each hit of Barrage is a 0.8 modifier. Same with this, but you only get 3 hits instead of the 4. It is a random target attack like Barrage, which means it's just not going to be the greatest. It's not the most reliable. You can't chain it very well. And it's going to hit random targets, ones that aren't full breaks, etc. It's always a pain. But if you're hitting a single target, it will do some decent damage. And he also has Call to Arms, which I believe is unique to him. There's a similar ability on, I believe, Demon Rain. So it's boosting, it's like the attack side of Cheer and Focus. So that is really cool if you're going to be extremely offensive with your team. So he does kind of fill that role of, if you don't have a Cheer person or a Focus, like if you don't have Cheer and Focus, you can kind of do a different setup with Karl and Seria with these buffs. He's a decent attacker and he does have that buff, so he can be okay in certain parties. Generally, most parties are going to pick up an actual character that uses Focus or Cheer, and the other unit will be a Barrager. So you could combine him and Seria, which we'll get to next, in a specific way, and I'll explain how. His Limit Burst is an AoE ice damage, which is actually pretty strong for 3 times AoE physical ice damage, and he reduces attack and magic. So one of the interesting things about him, he's able to buff your party's attack and magic, lower the enemy's attack and magic, and you know, this one here you're probably not going to use. You'll use his Limit Break more often. So he's got half the break and half the focus cheer, like the buffing side. It's pretty much him in a nutshell. His sprites, as you've been seeing kind of scrolling along here, they're pretty generic. I mean, he kind of gets water around him on the second one, and he gets a little bit nicer armor. But other than that, not very over the top like some of the other characters on this banner. So we're going to move on here to Seria, which is kind of his counterpart, is how I see it. She's also a 4-star base. She gets the Seal of Protection, which comes in with the defense plus 20%, spirit 20%, and HP plus 20%, or 10%, sorry. Which is literally like the opposite side of his. So if you have bow seals, I don't know why you would do bow seals. You would use one on tanks and one on like attackers. She does only go up to a 5-star. Going to be a little bit harder to pull with the gold only, but this current event kind of needs these characters to get a lot of your extra karma. So she starts out, her base attack isn't the greatest, and I believe she is kind of seen as an attacking unit. Her defense and everything is pretty average. Not a lot to see on that one for the base stats. No resistances again. She is able to equip every sword type, so she will have more of the current weapons that we have that are really good. Will be able to be used for her. Getting into her abilities here. In Blaze, fire damage. It is physical, so that is handy, because if it was magic, that would really suck. So she's a very heavy fire attacker from her kit. Blazer, even though it sounds like it would be a fire attack, it's basically Blitz. Like not area blast, it's not that strong. It's like a blade blitz. 1.4 times, cheap on the MP, good for wave clear on trash mobs. She gets attack plus 10% and defense plus 10%, so she's a bit weaker on the attack side than Karl is. She does get the demon killer, and she gets bird killer. I don't know why you would want bird killer on her. Generally, we don't fight a lot of birds. I would rather have the beast killer on her again. I'm not sure if it's a Brave Frontier thing as to why she has bird killer. Maybe she hates birds. I don't know. Again, she has evoke magic just like Karl does. Doesn't make sense to me. Probably makes sense lore-wise. I don't know. Heat Blaze is basically a slightly souped up Fire Blitz, or Flame Blitz, or whatever it was from Lightning. So it's a 1.9 instead of a 1.8. AoE fire damage, pretty decent. And then she doesn't have a really strong, like a similar barrage type. So she's got the AoE fire damage, and that's about it. Other than that, she doesn't really have a lot of abilities that she's going to do much with. She has Champion Surge at the very end, which is the other half to the full buff. So if you use Seria and Karl, you'll be able to get 40% on everything. These are expensive on MP, just like Focus and Cheer. So like if you need to use her in a sense for defense, then she's great for that, to buff the party that way, and he's great for buffing them attack wise. But ultimately, you'll probably get more use out of using a straight barrage character that is heavy on the attack, and having 2 characters with focus and cheer that are able to do some subset things. Mostly because of how the game's attack stats work. You want a really high attack to break through defenses. The way they kind of show these characters is they both are decent attackers, but they're not the best at it, which means they're not going to break through the defense to even deal okay damage. So it's unfortunate, but they are decent if you don't have any of those other type of units. So if you don't have a cheer unit, you don't have a focus unit, and you get both of these guys, they're probably going to do pretty well on your team. It's going to up your defenses and attack heavily. Just like Karl, her limit burst is a defense and spirit down rather than the attack side down. So between these two and their limit burst and their final ability, they're able to buff your party in full and debuff the enemy like a full break. The only problem with it is it's attached to their limit burst, which means you're really not going to use it that often like you would full break, which full break is usually used every 3 turns, or in my case usually every turn because I use it on multiple different mobs. Her sprite's pretty cool. She starts I actually like her 4-star more than her 5. I think the 5 starts getting a little bit out of hand. The 4-star starts out just kind of nice. She has a really cool looking sword. Her design's interesting. Other than that, she's probably the weakest out of the 4. Moving on to Tillith, which is being seen as the reason to pull for this this banner. Tillith is going to be getting a 6-star down the road and becomes one of the best healers in the game. Unfortunately, right now she's only a 5-star healer, and she's just okay. She's kind of under Refia, which is the counter banner right now. She is a 4-star pull again, so you got 3 4-stars. Gonna be hard to actually get these guys. And when you do get one, if you're aiming for Tillith, you gotta compete with Seria and Karl. So we'll look at her Trust Mastery real quick here, which is nullify all status ailments. It's pretty good. I mean, it's basically ribbon, but it's a ability rather than the equipment, so you don't have to waste that equipment slot. You can put it into an ability slot. So whether or not your character would rather have a piece of gear, like an accessory, or have an ability slot, you can manage that between Tillith and Kefka's TMs if you want to grind them out. Her base stats are basically in the healer end. She is a healer at heart, and these stats are going to go way up whenever she gets a 6-star. She's going to be really heavy into the spirit. There's nothing much really else to say about her other stats. Her magic's okay, but I don't think she's really meant to... Like, she can do magic damage, but it won't be the greatest. She doesn't have anything for resistances. One downside that she does have, she cannot equip weapons. You can get her, like, equip... well, you could technically equip sword on her if you really wanted to, but... natively, she does not equip weapons at all. She gets most of the mage gear, so she can get a bunch of her spirit or magic up, but without that huge spirit bonus, she kind of lacks in that department, especially at 5-star when she's not got all the big buffs. To counter that, in her abilities, she does get a spirit buff, a MP buff, and a mage buff. Passively, it's going to be a bit higher. Prism Heart is a magic damage 1.8 times to all enemies. It's actually a pretty strong magic attack, but without being able to equip a rod, probably not going to utilize it that much. It's helpful if you're trying to clear just random trash mobs, as long as she can maintain the MP. Pretty Steel is basically Dispel, because this is for the enemy, removes all status effects. Pretty Aura down here is another passive, auto regen during battle, so she will just natively have regen. Goddess's Miracle is basically the one ability that she's going to use quite often. It is your heal. It heals everybody for 1000 HP with a 3.4 times modifier, and basically it's Esunaga with Kuraja. It does cost a little bit more MP than each of those spells, but I mean, it's doing both, so as long as she can maintain the MP, she doesn't need to cast twice. She doesn't have to do Esuna and then Kuraja in fights that require it. She can just keep spamming Goddess's Miracle. This is classed as an ability and not a spell, so you cannot dual cast this. That is another one of her issues, but this is such a huge heal that it's not really needed to double it. And when she becomes a 6-star, she gets some other heals that are just as insane. And that's where she really shines, is when she hits 6-star. Right now, she'll be really good, but she will be slightly behind Refia at 6-star. I think she's slightly ahead of Lena. Celestial Light is basically Focus Cheer all in one, but only lasts for 2 turns. I think this is actually one of those abilities that you really don't want to use on her if you don't have to. Like, if she is your only character that is using Focus and Cheer, stack some MP on her, because it's 53 MP. It's only going to last for 2 turns. So basically, every 3 turns, like on the 3rd turn, you have to cast this again, because otherwise you don't have your attack buff or your defense buff. So it means on those turns she can't be healing. So if you are getting hit for massive amounts of damage, you're going to need a sub healer, possibly Cecil, which most people have right now, and that combo would work really well. But that is a weakness that most people don't see. They don't read the 2 turns, and that can be a huge downfall to your party, that you have to reapply this constantly. Rainbow Veil is basically Bar Ega for all the spells, or Iras, or whatever you want to call them. 40% on basically all elements but darkness. So put this on, you're probably not going to take much damage. It is for 3 turns, which is nice, but it is also a huge 50 chunk HP, or MP, which with her base MP of 140, plus she gets the 20%, yeah. She'll be able to cast like 3 or 4 times between these 2 abilities, and then she's out. So you might need to stack some MP on her. Her Limit Burst is one of her weaker moves, actually. It's a really huge single target heal. It increases their limit break fill gauge rate. Limit break gauge fill rate. And that's probably the best part about it, because you can make people just be spamming their limit breaks. It's 3 turns on that, and it also does a mini Esuna for Poison, Silence, and Paralyze. I thought when I first read this that it was an AoE heal, and Silence, Poison, and Paralyze fix. It's not. It would be great if it was, but it's really only going to work on your main tank or one character that needs it, or if you need the limit break, additional limit breaks from your DPS, you can throw that on them. But it's kind of her weakest part of her kit. The best part about it is it is a free heal, as long as you have your limit break up. Her sprites are very sparkly. I've been informed that the 6-star, basically she has so many sparkles that it's like walking into a glitter store. So, yeah, if you get her, great. She's going to become a 6-star down the road, and she's going to be one of the best healers in the game. As of right now, she's an okay healer. Definitely level her up if you get her. Have her ready to go into that 6-star and become the top tier. But as of right now, those are 3-4 stars, and it's not the easiest to get specifically her. We're going to move on to the last and the global exclusive, Elza. She is going to be my Demon Reign's waifu. I'm just saying, at the end of this episode here, we are going to be pulling. I have a 10+1 queued up for Demon Reign to try to get Elza. It's going to be great, and it's going to happen, just saying. Her Trust Mastery is the strongest scythe in the game. By the way, if I didn't say it, this is a global exclusive unit, so this is not found in the Japanese version. She gets a 120 attack Darkness Element Scythe, which is classed as a spear type weapon. This is insane. Basically, throw this on her, throw it on a Cain, it's going to do massive damage. It's like having an Excalibur for spear wielders, which Cain would probably drool to have that. And if you have Elza and you throw this on her, she's going to hit massive amounts of damage. So her base attack here at 6-star is 146, which is pretty good for a 6-star. I mean, it is 6-star stats, it's going to be up there. She has decent defenses. Her magic is a bit weaker, but she doesn't really use much in the magic department. Her drop check is a 3 because she gets 4 hits in. So in total, like most units, you're getting 12 per round. It's pretty standard. Her resistances, there is none. Equipment is where her fault somewhat is. She's only able to use spears natively for her weapons, but if you get her Death Scythe or the Event Spear or the Reaper Scythe from the previous event, there's a couple good spears right now. As long as you've gotten them, she'll be able to utilize them very well. If you get her Death Scythe, she's just going to destroy shit. Her armor ability is a little bit lacking in the heavier armor side, but because she's going to be one of your attack units, you can throw on the lighter clothes that have the attack up. And that's where you're really going to want it. She's not able to use any magic. It's unfortunate. I figured she'd be able to use some black magic, kind of hinting at like using darkness magic or something, but it chose to not use it. I guess maybe she's not a magical character in Brave Frontier. Anyway, into her learned abilities. Enfeebling Slash, she's able to poison and disease. This is one of the very few abilities in the game that is able to inflict disease. What disease does is it lowers the enemy's stats, like Full Break, all of the stats by 10%. This also stacks with any break effect. So you are able to, say with Full Break, get your 40% plus an additional 10% on there for the 50% down. She does natively have Man-Eater, which is 50% bonus damage to humans. If you get her for the current event, almost, I think, all of the enemies, except for some of the dragons, are classed as humans. So she's gonna just cut them in half. Lance is why I'm calling her a Dark Dragoon. Lance or Lancet is the Dragoon move. They gave it to her. She wields a spear. I'm calling her a Dark Dragoon. For those that know, I love Dragoons, I love Dark Knights, and I love Red Mages, and I love the idea of a Dark Dragoon. So this is what I'm saying. She doesn't jump, but she has Lance, so she's a Dark Dragoon. I'm doing it. She has attack plus 20% natively, so her attack's just going to keep going up. Dark Prayer is cure all status ailments and increase all of her stats by 50% for 4 turns to self. If you do not have a cheer, a focus, or whatever unit, say you're brand new to the game, this ability, because it lasts 4 turns, is actually going to be really huge. It's basically going to make her not really killable, and she's going to hit like a truck. And whenever you use it, you have another 3 turns before you have to use it again. And it's really not that much MP. It's pretty high considering it's only for 1 unit compared to the like 50, 58 for the all units of the other spells, but this gives you a cure for all your ailments too. So if she ends up getting poison, blind, all that, she can just wipe that and get a huge buff. It's like she's basically like, no, screw you and your ailments, now I'm coming at you. Ravaging Blow is one of her 2 best abilities. Physical damage 2 times, which is pretty good it's a support ability, so you get quite a bit of damage on the support, which is reducing defense and spirit by 50%. This is a higher break than Full Break for the defensive side of the stats. So if you are not using a Full Break unit, you can utilize her as the defense breaker. 50% is clearly better than 40%. Or the 30%. Actually, I think Full Break is 30%, and I think the regular breaks are like 15 or 20. I think the 40% might come from something else. I don't remember specifically, but basically, it's the best break in the game for the defense side. That's all you need to know. Dark Reaper increases her attack by 50% when equipped with a spear, which she has to be equipped with a spear. So if you're using unarmed, then you might have problems. She also gets dark resistance 50%. So basically, does she natively have it? No. So she'll be at 50% dark resist with that once she is 6-star level 1. Between this and her attack 20%, she's at 70% bonus attack as a spear wielder. It's a huge amount. She does have Demon Killer as well as the Man-Eater, so demons and humans, watch out. HP plus 20%, give her a little bit more tankiness. Auto refresh like most 5-star base units, so it'll keep her MP up on long battles, which she probably won't let too many battles be long. Dark Aegis is increased defense and spirit 30% for 3 turns when your HP drops below 30%. So this is a passive. You get knocked down to 30% or lower, you gain this defense buff. This, I believe, is in the same category as Focus, etc., or even like Dark Prayer. So if you already have those on there, I don't believe that you're going to get a bonus to that. So it's nice, but it's not really going to be utilized that often. Dark Favor is a very interesting move that she has. Auto Revive, so she puts a buff on herself that if she dies, she comes back with 90% of her HP. You can use this for certain fights. Like, you could think that Pumpkin fight for the Halloween, she could put that on. When she dies, she would have came back and continued the fight. There will be uses for this, but natively you wouldn't be planning to use this all the time. Generally, if you're gonna die, you might not see it coming, or like she's been whittled down to use this. I don't know. Madness Rush is her final move and her best move. It's basically a souped up barrage. So she deals 3 physical damage attacks, so she slashes 3 times rather than the 4 sets with barrage, but it's actually stronger than barrage. Barrage is a 3.2, I believe. This is a 4.2. So within less hits, she deals more damage. It's to random enemies, which is its one downfall, so it's harder to chain with it. But she also increases her limit break fill gauge, like her rate that she fills for 3 turns to herself. So she's going to be able to limit break more often. When you add that in with her exclusive materia from this event, which gives her an additional attack plus 20%, so now we're up to 90% attack bonus, and she gets another limit break fill gauge, I don't know why I keep saying fill gauge, limit break gauge fill rate by another 100%, so as long as these stack, even if they don't, you'll have it all the time, but if they do stack, which you would think they would, because otherwise why give a materia that gives it all the time, and an ability that can give it, you're gonna have 200% more limit breaks, which her limit break's pretty cool. It's an AoE dark damage to like all enemies up to 3.9% times damage, so 390% damage. It's not the strongest, but if you're using it constantly, it's pretty good if you're trying to AoE stuff down. It's not the best when it comes to single target. You're going to want to use Madness Rush for single target, but it's definitely good for that AoE clear. Now onto the Awakening stuff. Standard 6-star materials. I believe this is the same set as most of the first characters we've got. Like, I think Cecil might be like this. That maybe these two are switched around. Anyway, onto her sprites. First sprite is cool. Second sprite is basically she gained a shit ton of dark power. She still looks amazing. Other than that, hey, there's actually background story. I could probably read that. We'll do that another time. You guys can feel free to come to the wiki and read these to find out maybe more about these characters. Or go and try Brave Frontier. I mean, don't leave Brave Exvius, though. We need you. We need everybody. We're going to move on to the polls now. We're going to leave Elza on the screen because we do want to pull her. I'm going to move this one here because we're going to pull on the left-hand side here first. As you can see, I do have Demon Rain there. I'm actually going to move Elza to the middle as well. So, Demon Rain needs a waifu. I have gathered 5,000 lapis for this specific thing right now. We're going to do it. So, you know what? Maybe we should start out with some tickets. Want to do some tickets? I think we could do some tickets. No, I'll do the tickets on those ones. I'll leave these tickets maybe for attempting a Luneth or something. Right now, we're gonna do an 11 plus 1 pull, 5,000 lapis. Wish me luck, everybody. Let's get Demon Rain a waifu. This is the silly account that just does stupid things like this. In all reality, I shouldn't be pulling, but let's do it. Pray for it. Get the Elza waifu. It's a gold. I mean, it's almost always a gold when I get a 10 plus 1, but let's see it shatter into a rainbow. I'm closing my eyes. Close the eyes. Close the eyes. Open the eyes. Oh, it's a Lonnie. Whoa! Why? Why would you do this to me? It's funny because this account doesn't have a Lonnie yet, but oh man, couldn't even be any of the event units. This is my kind of luck on the pulls. I got an Alma. The cool thing about this account, it doesn't have many characters, so most of these will pop up as new. Oh, or I'll just get more Karls and Sabins and shit. Rydia. Golbez. That's kind of cool. I don't think I even have him on my main account. Oh, Miyuki! There's a Sephira Kabuki? I can never pronounce that one. Oh my god, a Sabin. Ah, it hurts. It hurts so much. Why, game? Why do you do Furion? I'm okay with Furion, but still, the 2 gold crystals. Russell. I feel like I should be really mad. And another Luna. Oh, that is brutal. Okay. Oh, I don't even know if I want to keep pulling. For the sake of the video, we'll do the promise of the pulls here. I have already done my dailies. That's where I got the Tillith for that account. This one here got a Pinello, because this is my main account and it always gets just horrible things. And I believe on this one, what did I get here? Few units. It was a Kane. I'm okay with a Kane on here. I might actually add him to the team just because I love Kane. I'm weird like that. Alright, let's do this. We're going to Brave Frontier this up because we need units to be able to get the karma. We can't just rely on the allies here. You know, I'm gonna move this over here because you know what? I want Elza on the main account. Double this up. We're gonna get it. Music changed. Oh, double blue. Double blue across the sky, man. Go, 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 go. I hate you. I really hate you, game. Why always with the Russells and the Galoofs and shit like that? Oh my god. Alright, we got one more ticket on each. Oh man, really? Come on. Gonna bust down that Russell, I guess? No, I don't want to bust. I want to bust you down into the other Russell. So I actually started the game with a Russell, and I thought he was like one of the best units at the time because he was natively like a really strong. Where the fuck is he? It's obtained. He should be down here. There he is. Yeah, he's actually max level because I had him until he maxed out, and then I ended up getting like Leo or somebody. I hope he gets a 5/6 star in the future because he actually starts with like he gets provoke and draw attack. So he's actually a great tank for getting attacks to hit him. Whether that's a good thing or not, since he's a 4-star, he generally just dies. But early on, he was great. Let's try this again. Let's not hate life, okay? We're gonna do this real quick. Try to get both of them going at the same time. Bam and bam. Don't bone me. Holding eyes closed. What is it? Double fucking blue. Alright. See, and this is the problem with this banner, is it's really hard to even get a gold, which means you're probably not going to get it. Oh! Oh, man. Oh, and a Russell. See, this is what you get. You get a gold, plus you get a Russell. This is what happens. It's just how the game is. Please be Tillith. I got a Seria. It's the worst unit of the batch, but I mean, at least she's kind of cute. Oh, man. Well, I have a unit for the event now, at least, so I can get the bonus karma. Yeah, these two are now out of stuff, but... Okay! This is a disaster here. And I think the game needs to redeem itself with these last 2 tickets. And give Demon Rain his waifu, man. That is not a waifu. That is a blue crystal. You're gonna turn into a gold now, and then you're gonna turn into a rainbow, or you're gonna turn into a cyan. We're gonna try this one more time since we can only try. Oh, you would be maxed out. This is brutal. I haven't even broke down like those units, the friend point units. This is the first time I'm gonna be breaking things down on this account. Turn into aim. At least I think that's what she gives. Aim, yeah. Come on, gotta do the pull. Everybody wants to see the pull. Brave Frontier, give me the waifu. She was in the background. She's sitting here. Gonna move her over. See, it's gonna turn into her. It's not a blue. It's not a blue. You see, she's in it. See, she's in it. It's gonna be fine. It's an Elza. Totally an Elza. Or it's an Alma. I mean, that sounds similar, right? I just realized that the Brave Frontier thing was actually sitting over the other... Oh man, hold on. Here, I'll show you the units that we got. It was bad too, if you didn't see it behind the banner. My bad on that. Obtained. It was really, really bad. Usually turn that thing off. So yeah, we got Seria on the last pull. That was the blue that turned into a gold. My bad that you didn't get to see that. But other than that, we got shit all. Got really, really bad shit. Like Pinello, Seria, Junk, Russells. Why with the Russells, man? Both accounts. Wait, did all 3 accounts get a Russell tonight? I think they did. This one busted it down. This one has a Russell there. Oh. Did this one get a Russell? I think it got a Russell. It got a Russell. Russells for everybody tonight, alright? Feel free to pull. Get yourself a Russell today. And send me any Elzas that you get. Yeah, because Demon Rain's lonely, man. Look at him. He's lonely. Just gonna get in here. Lonely. He needs his Elza, man. Alright, that's it for the video. Next week, if there is a new banner, which most likely there will be, I will be doing a summary like usual. Good luck with the event. Right now, you gotta grind out that karma. Use these bonus characters if you can. I recommend trying not, like, because you have to level them up for them to really be useful. Otherwise, you can just have them dead in the party to give you the bonus. You can do that if you can carry yourself. And either grab a friend unit that will give the bonus, or try to have a couple in your own party. I mean, it's not the most recommended banner to pull on, unless you're very confident that you're going to get an Elza, which is like a 1% or 5% or whatever. I'm getting a phone call. Alright, have a great night, everybody.